Go on and bless yourself.
Bless yourself. Hello, hello. Welcome to Astro Insights Live, to Rose Trone Astrology. We are here to talk about the astrology for next week. And we, as in Melrose, astrologer above me, my sweet wife, and I am Jennifer Rose. And I'm just talking a little bit, humaning the chat, waiting to see if anyone joins us, and then we'll get going. It seems like it's not too busy of a week, but a little bit busy of a week. Like a whole lot of things going on. It seems like it's been like that for a little while or every week, but now we're getting down to brass tacks here, getting ready to have
Mhm.
a huge full moon and some other aspects happening. And so we like to get together on Sundays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk to you about the astrology so you can see where it might fit into your world and where you might be able to adjust to use these energies for their best good. So, welcome in. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start all over again. Hello, my name is Jennifer Rose, and welcome to Astro Insights Live with the Roses. My sweet wife, Mel Rose, astrologer and tarot card reader, is above me here, and she will be taking over in just a little bit. But first, we have some really good news to share with everyone, and kind of why we've been a little bit absent from our regular upload schedule. We are opening a retail shop. Actually, we will also be doing readings there, but we will have Midwest Woo books and more. I'm so excited. I'm all tongue tied. Mel, do you want to say anything about it?
So, for both of us, it's always been kind of a dream to have a place like a bookshop where we can welcome in, kindred spirits and share, philosophy and other kind of literature and other kind of media experiences. And, we were just talking about it earlier this year that like eventually the goal was to have a bookstore. And then literally somebody just messaged us and said, we have a storefront for you. And the terms of the lease were very amenable, and we just have decided to hop on and put our best effort into creating this Books and More, Midwest Woo Books and More. It's going to be at 319 Main in Belton, Missouri. Not in there yet. We're going to start moving in this coming week, and we're going to have an opening on the 13th of September and a grand opening, I think, on the 18th of October. So uh, follow us for details, and you will hear more, and you'll know how to find us. We're going to be a little cultural dot on the map down there in our old hometown of Belton, where Jennifer and I grew up, where we met when we were 9 years old, just down the road from that shop at Hillcrest Elementary School. So full circle for Jennifer and I to be heading back into Belton and bringing our wisdom and our healing experience and our desire to uplift the whole community with us.
Right. So stay tuned. We'll be sharing more information about how things will change as far as, hello, Kelly Roberts, as far as Midwest Woo Books and More goes, and our hours and the readings, and how you can get a pre recorded one, and how you can book an event, and how you can sign up for our classes. It's so very exciting. And we will make this available here on YouTube. And what's more exciting is we were going to start going live and having an audience. So
Yes.
we're really excited for this new opportunity. And so now we must focus on the astrology while everyone's here. So, Mel, let's go ahead and start talking about what we should look forward to next week. Oh, yes. Jesus loves us all. Thank you so much.
Well, first I want to say hello to Kelly and hello to Nara and
Nara.
thank you, Nara. I feel pretty beautiful today, and I appreciate you saying that. And Namira as well. Thank you so much for joining us, those of you who are in the chat and those of you who are not. Welcome back to Astrology Today, Rose Tarot and Astrology. We are here to discuss the week ahead and astrology. And I'm going to give you like a preview and review, and then we're going to go forward. So at the end of this week, today is Sunday, August 31st. And at the end of this week, on Sunday, the 7th of September, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces with a lunar eclipse. And if you're in a part of the world where the moon is out, then you'll have that lunar eclipse where it's visible. For us, it'll be during the daytime here in the Midwest part of the United States. But so yes, full moon in Pisces coming up next Sunday. Remember that Pisces is a mutable sign. Remember that there's some variability with that, and it's very much emotional and intuitive. It's sort of like where all things come out in the wash, where all possibilities exist, right? So it's going to be an interesting full moon. It's also the end of a cycle. In terms of the full moon being in Pisces, that means our next full moon is in Aries, and that's going to be a beginning full moon. This is an ending full moon. So more on that in a moment. Before we have that full moon in Pisces next Sunday, on Friday, Uranus is going retrograde. And so Uranus brings in that fluctuation and that variability, like with mutable signs. And Uranus going retrograde in and of itself is not necessarily a very powerfully felt thing, but this part this week where it holds still in the sky means it pulls a lot of focus, and it does make things variable. And we're going to come back to that in a moment. But then first, I want to point out to you that before that happens on Friday, on Tuesday, Mercury is moving on into Virgo. So our conversations becoming more practical, more particular. And again, Virgo is a mutable sign. So variable, we're breaking things down and sorting out, sorting things out. And that's literally like physical stuff, but also mentally, the plans, the lists, all of that. And before that happens, tomorrow on Monday, Saturn is backing up. Saturn's been retrograde for a little while now, backing up into Pisces, where it spent most of the last 3 years. So that's kind of a big thing too this week. So we have a lot of transition this week. We have a couple of planets going into different signs. We have one planet going retrograde, and then we're going to have that full moon in Pisces at the end of the week. It's kind of a full week, friends. It doesn't seem like there's anything very specific that's going to, I don't know, necessarily come out of this week. It's really a week for change and variability. It's really a week for considering all of the possibilities and sort of being open to things fluctuating, because things are going to fluctuate. So, Jennifer, coming back to today, the sun is, where is the sun, Jennifer? It's in Virgo.
It's a
And the
Virgo.
moon is in Sagittarius. So again, we're starting today with the sun and moon in immutable signs, and that brings about that variability, that the consistency of change, right? The inevitability that things are going to fluctuate for us. And I think that's a good note to be starting on. The moon is going to be waxing all week this week until we get to that full moon on Sunday. And tomorrow, after Saturn moves in backwards into Pisces, the moon's going to go on to Capricorn. So let's talk a little bit about Saturn moving backward into Pisces.
Well, sorry, I'm also monitoring the chat.
Okay.
Saturn back into Pisces means, for me personally, with the Pisces moon, for me it means these addictions that I've been working on. Okay, I just call them all addictions because that's really what they are.
Mhm.
Obsessions, obsessive compulsiveness, whatever it is, these addictions that I've been working on. It may be that I dip back into, like that I experience something that challenges me to see how far I've come. in my healing with that addiction. So,
Mhm.
maybe it just gets tough. And when the going gets tough, sometimes I eat, or sometimes I, detach myself in other ways, or, I just have all sorts of different kind of mechanisms. And I've been working really, really steadily on these mechanisms for myself and figuring out my triggers. And I'm down to a few of them, but I think a lot of us are in this position as we're working on some things that we want to better ourselves with, and then this week may just be tough, and I need to employ all of my support network, and I have to go back and remind myself why I started down this road to begin with, and when I created when I created my going forward, I also created like a list of what to do instead of, and to remind myself today, I'm going to read through those lists again and maybe even post it up where I can see it. So when I run into that wall that I hit and I normally do this when it happens, I'm hoping to make a better choice, or at least
Mhm.
a 50% improvement from what I did last time, Saturn
Mhm.
Pisces. And, this is about just breaking down the structures of my bad habits, like, so when I'm bored, I do this. So when I'm upset, I do this. So when I'm happy, I do this. Like, really
Mhm.
just like figuring out, like, oh, we don't need to do that. This is not how it works. This is not, these are things that were taught to me through conditioning. And now I'm unconditioning, I'm reconditioning myself. And I think that a lot of us are going to figure that out with that Saturn in Pisces.
Definitely. And another, like that brings me to say that that one of the major things that we've been dealing with lately, Saturn in Pisces and then Saturn moving into Aries, Saturn and Neptune, Neptune is Pisces' modern ruler, are have been near conjunct one another at the beginning of Aries for a little while now. And they're going to stay near conjunct for a while. Saturn moving back into Pisces is preceding Neptune into Pisces. And right now, as of tomorrow, when Saturn backs up into Pisces, they're both on either side of that line that is the end and the beginning of the zodiac. It's 29 degrees of Pisces and 0 degrees of Aries. That's where they are. They're on that line of clicking between the very end of a cycle and the very beginning of the cycle. And they're clicking back into the end part of the previous cycle. So, Saturn and Neptune together, this is talking to us about the places where we have calcified, the places where things have become rigid. And especially Jennifer's talking about those coping mechanisms that we use, where, we get kind of sort of hardened into a pattern of going out for donuts every night, or hardened into a pattern of, drinking a Monster Energy drink, or hardened into a pattern of whatever it is that we do for ourselves that isn't really necessarily good for us, but helps us keep moving, right? Or helps us stay in the game. So, where have we gotten a little crusty around the edges and sort of hardened ourselves into these patterns that don't work for us? That's what we've been examining as we've had Saturn and Neptune in Aries, looking at making new beginnings, trying to get some new stuff started. We realize we're a little too rigid about certain things, and we need to become a little more flexible. We need to dissolve some of this rigidity in these standards that we've set, especially for how we cope with these things. And now with Saturn moving back into Pisces, we're gonna Saturn in Pisces like started with that implosion of the submersible a few years back, right?
Oh,
So
right.
now we're moving back into Pisces. We're like, okay, now I see where I'm too rigid. I see where things have gotten to uh, to I keep saying calcified, sort of bricked in there, and
In
it's going to
place.
show us how, or give us an opportunity to dissolve some of that structure that is making it harder for us to grow and uh, prosper and find success. A lot of that is just like stuff we put in place before that we don't have a purpose for anymore, and yet we're still leaning on it, we're still relying on it, and what we're going to learn is that we don't need it. We're going to move forward anyway.
Right, this is the whole sink or swim scenario, like doggy paddling is what I feel like I'm doing right now, and I feel like if any big wave comes at me, then I have a choice to make, like, am I gonna put my head under the water and swim underwater to get away from it? Am I gonna
Hmm.
look around and see what's going on and make a really good informed decision instead of just, like, ducking out? Like, that is gonna be the key there, and I've been watching a lot. I've been sitting by lakes lately, just reminding myself that these emotions can be contained. They can be contained, no matter how big they are. That something that is disruptive can just make ripples, but it doesn't ripple through the whole entire lake. It doesn't ripple through the whole entire body, and it also stops. Like the ripple just stops really quickly, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's a raindrop or a rock or a human body, those ripples stop quickly. So just remember, maybe it is that maybe it is that you dip your toe back in that water for a minute. All right.
Hmm.
Just don't drown yourself in it. Okay. Like
Right.
just do your very, very best and try not to get just don't drown yourself in it. Remember what it is that you set out to do and just know that
Hmm.
this thing that's coming at you, these things that seemingly seem like you can't get through, you have already, and you will this time, and you don't have to use those mechanisms any longer. Just remember what it
Yeah.
is you're promised to yourself. That's all you need to remember.
Hmm. And then let the rest of it dissolve. There's not anything that you really have to do except let it go. Just allow it to release itself from you. Like, yeah, that's just not something that I do anymore.
Yeah.
So that's Saturn moving back into Pisces, and that's really one of the big ways that we start off this week. Tomorrow, that's what happens tomorrow, and then the moon is going to move on into Capricorn. And when the moon is in Capricorn, especially in our private lives, there's a little bit of a labor ethic. It's a little bit of sweat of the brow work. We've got things to do. We've got mountains to climb and problems to solve, and we're gonna get in there and get it done. Uh, Getting this bookstore open is really going to be not just a big mental exercise, but also a huge physical exercise. So I'm going to be grateful to start off the week kind of with this Capricorn energy that says, okay, let's just get it taken care of. And then as we come into Tuesday, Mercury is going to move on into Virgo. So Mercury's been in Leo for the past few weeks. More than that, didn't Mercury have a retrograde in Leo? That's true. So Mercury's been in Leo for a little while now. And now it's moving on into Virgo on Tuesday. This, again, Virgo, a mutable sign, changeability. This is getting really particular about what our plans are, about what the words we're using are, what our message is, and really like sorting things out so that we can take out what we no longer need to hold on to, right? And get ready to liquidate it. Get ready to let it dissolve. Get ready to liquefy it. Okay. So,
Right.
one of the things that we're doing here at our home is like a part of our bookstore is coming from our home. So, we're pulling out things that we've held on to for years and years and years because there are things that we would like to eventually be able to share with somebody, and we're gonna liquidate those things by putting them in our shop. So that's kind of the vibration, is like letting go of some things and making them, preparing them to be given to the world.
Right, yeah, we've been doing that. I think both of us might have been just a little bit, shocked at the emotions carried within our items, even just the books that we have. Um, I carry personal items like, concert stubs, movie stubs. I've done that since I was young, but I collect all sorts of different things, and I decided to go through those and use them because they're stickers that I love or something, and, we're gonna bring them all to the store to sell, to upcycle, and still to have the opportunity to still be surrounded by that stuff, but also know that we're letting it go, that we are,
Yeah.
like, that we're the purveyors of this. We know how this affected us, where it came from, what it means to us,
Mhm.
we'll enchant them and send them out the door with the best positive vibes, so we've definitely been cycling through these things and getting rid of
Mhm. Mhm.
books, books, and books.
And we're not the only ones. We actually, of course, have put the call out to our friends and family, and so we've got a lot of people going through their things right now, getting particular about what they think they need to keep and what they can let go of, so that they can also liquidate it and be like lightened up from that load. So I really feel like that's the Mercury in Virgo vibe for the next few weeks. And then, as right now, because we have these planets that are all sort of at the early degrees of their signs, outer planets, when Mercury moves into Virgo, it's going to have a conversation with each and every one of those planets, including Saturn that just moved back into Pisces, but also including Neptune in Aries, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius. All of these are in early degrees of their signs. So uh, they're a little bit challenging conversations. They're a little bit like having to ask the right question to get the right answer. It's a little bit of a negotiation, especially when it comes to kind of serious things, creative things, the things that we're trying to let go of, stuff that we feel that we need to keep, that kind of stuff. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I just look for the plan making and the conversations and the particular moving around of items to be a little bit challenging and taking a lot of negotiation. So be willing to ask for what it is that you want and need from the situation. In Virgo, Mercury in Virgo wants us all to come away feeling whole. Even though we break things down into our parts, it is for the purpose of things being whole. So uh, so really, while these plans and conversations are in fluctuation, while this information is in fluctuation, keep on the top of your mind what it is that you need, like what's essential to you, coming out of the end of the week.
That makes me think of a friend of ours. I should tell you this anyway. A friend of ours posted a picture and like, this is what it takes to get me through the day. And there's like a cup of coffee and a Red Bull and, just various things and stuffs that this person likes, and then a cup. And I did not see any real representation of water there. And so I had to say, is there any water there? Like, yeah, of course it's in the cup. Uh, so make sure to take care of ourselves. And that means you retail people, like I am certain that every store is preparing for every fall festival, every Christmas, display. So prepare to put up a display and then have to move it a few times. Sounds like this week, if you're doing that. And that's us. We're gonna have to move things around a few times to see where it fits. And it's A-okay. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be exactly perfect, but rejection is protection.
I'm trying to keep my boxes small.
Yeah, right. I am. We're definitely keeping boxes small and using reusable bags with handles.
Yes. Okay, so coming into Thursday, first the moon is going to move out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. So those are both Saturn ruled signs, but moon in Capricorn is more about serious sweat of the brow work toward your ambitions. Aquarius has bigger ambitions of like things working for everybody. So Aquarius is a little bit more willing to change when change is responsible and contributes to better support for everybody. And then on that day, Mars is going to perfect a square with Jupiter. So this is our warning this week against over doing it physically, over taxing our bodies. Okay, like Mars just wants to go go go. Mars in Libra wants to do things in a balanced way. So they might be doing twice as much. We might be doing twice as much just so that it feels like it's fair, right? And the warning with the square to Jupiter is beware of too much. Don't do too much. Don't assert yourself too much. Um, there might be a little bit of like feelings like something is unfair, a little bit of anger that comes up with something feeling unfair. It's going to be easy for that assertive impulse to fall out of balance and become too much, especially right around Thursday. So let's just be mindful of that, be aware of that. No, let's not push ourselves too hard. That's definitely a reminder that I need as we're getting ready to start moving things into our new shop. But I think it's, definitely, especially with like Mercury going into Virgo, and we're really sorting things out. We really are trying to extract what we don't need to keep any longer. Just make sure that you're not pushing too hard. Make sure you're taking your breaks. Again, like Jennifer said, drinking water and taking care of your body, because your body is there to take care of you. And then Friday happens and Uranus goes retrograde while the moon is in Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So that's sort of a good synchronicity. But Uranus going retrograde just really brings up, again, the potential for fluctuation. It's not that Uranus is going retrograde that is the issue. It is that Uranus, during all of this that we've talked about so far, is basically standing still in the sky, and it pulls a lot of energy just because it's standing still before it turns to go retrograde. So Uranus pulling this energy brings, again, in that fluctuation, that variability. Uranus just guarantees change, sometimes surprising change, very quick changes, things that sort of expand our notion of what's possible in the world. It can be a very sort of upgrade kind of vibration. It can be a very kind of like discovery kind of vibration, but either way, there can be surprises, fluctuation, change. It seems to be the order of the week, especially with planets moving in and out of signs, and a lot of conversation about these mutable signs, which bring fluctuation as it is. So Friday brings that surprising, fluctuating vibe with it. And, I just want to remind us to take care of ourselves like I just did. There's going to be a little bit of a rolling with the punches. Hopefully the punches aren't coming on too strong, but definitely, we've got to be open. It's going to be hard to pin anything down this week, except perhaps the long-term goal. So keep your eyes on that long-term prize at this point, because this week we're going to be a little bit in the weeds and sort of mucking about, trying to figure out what goes where and how we integrate the new information into what it is that we're creating.
This really sounds like an interesting week for us with all the irons we have in the fire. Every time we
Yeah.
discuss next week's astrology, I'm just like, oh, yeah. I have a list of things to do today. And knowing that all of this that I do may be undone or not even necessary at some point is just fun. But I'm still going to do it. But I'm just like, yeah, I can already see where this shit can go off the rails here a little bit. Might piss a person off.
Oh,
So
man.
it's all
Man.
right though, like I'm prepared. That's why I like doing this astrology stuff, because I want to prepare myself for this. I want to be ready. I just want to be capable of not, being too emotional or too emotionally reactive about it, and just kind of get the shit done, get done what needs to get done, even if it means,
Mhm.
oh, I have to go all the way around that detour and it's going to take me an extra 5 minutes, then, leave 15 minutes early for what, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's just going
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, you're just going to have to do it. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it except for just go with the fucking flow.
Because of variability and fluctuation, because Mercury is so heavily indicated this week, not with just with its transition and its aspects, but also, Gemini going retrograde. Uranus going retrograde in Gemini. Um, with Mercury so highlighted, it's really just going to be. Be patient and communicate, for sure, for sure.
Yes, I'm
Uh,
just glad that the Mercury is not retrograde right now, because that would be the true shit show. And
yeah.
so,
No,
no
actually,
Mercury
Mercury is in one
retrograde.
of its favorite places right now, so this is really the good time for being able to talk about your needs, talk about what would make you feel whole, talk about what it is that you can do without right now, and make those plans. It's really a good time for it.
Exactly. Yeah, and in Virgo season, list, like, making a list for yourself and knowing what needs to get done so you're not forgetting something, which could
Mhm.
create, an extra step to that, an extra layer to whatever it is that you're doing, just being a little bit more prepared for change is better than just being like, I hate change.
I
Just be
feel
okay.
targeted by that comment.
Well,
Okay, so then after that, the moon is gonna go into Pisces on Saturday, and we'll have that full moon on Sunday. Full moon in Pisces, like I said, is the end of a cycle. Our next full moon is gonna be in Aries, which is the beginning of a cycle. We have a lot of stuff going on at the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aries all year long. We're dealing with this endings and beginnings theme. And right now there's a little bit of going backward and reflecting and seeing how far that we've come. Look how far you've come in the last year. Look how far you've come in the last month. Uh, with that full moon celebration, it's time to really like notice what you have culminated, what you have managed to create, and also what you have managed to let go in the past year or so. There is a lunar eclipse, like I said, that will be visible uh, to those who can see the moon, so probably on the other side of the world from us. Uh, but I'm sure that will be spectacular, and clip that kicks off the eclipse season for us. That means we'll have a solar eclipse here in a couple of weeks with the new moon, and then a couple more eclipses coming up before it's all said and done. And that is the entire week, my friends. The next week is just a waning moon, and Mercury Kazemi and Jennifer and I getting ready to open a store.
don't forget about that full moon. Isn't there an eclipse or something as well, like on
Yeah,
Sunday? Like,
I just talked about that for like 3 minutes.
okay, yeah, I know, but you said in next week. Well, next week is that like that's probably
Look,
going to be the
the
biggest
week
thing that we lead
after
with,
is what
right?
I'm saying. We
Oh,
got
I
to the
gotcha.
full moon and the lunar eclipse, and then the week after that, there's a Mercury Kazemi, and we're moving in. We're opening our shop. So
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha. I'm just upgrading and updating. So now we're going to turn to the tarot reading portion of our show.
Yes.
Astro show.
Tarot
Tarot, tarot.
show.
Tarot, however you say it. We say tarot here in the Midwest. And Mel is getting ready to throw some cards. What do we got going on? What you got on your mind
Well,
this week,
okay,
Mel?
because I really feel like the word fluctuation is the word for the week. The
Right.
change is the word for the week, like being open to change, noticing change, like understanding that change is inevitable. I wanna, and we're sort of parsing out what stays from what goes. I'm gonna do a card for what stays and a card for what goes. How does that sound?
Awesome.
Okay.
What stays and what goes?
So, what stays?
Ooh.
Okay, so you wanna stay in that flexible frame of mind that says, "Look, sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and if you're sitting on top of the world, eventually you're gonna come down, and if you're not sitting on the top of the world, eventually you're gonna come up," okay? So, have a flexible perspective. Try not to be whipped around by your experience. It's a little bit like being on a merry-go-round, this Wheel of Fortune. If you sit out on the edge, then your experience is gonna be very dizzying and unclear, and you're going to just see stuff flying by you. But if you can stand at the middle of that merry-go-round, you can really just sort of watch the world go by around you from a steady, still point in the center. So, what stays? Things that help us feel centered, things that help us feel grounded, things that help us feel like we're making progress and we have good fortune.
I agree with that. And it also is a reminder that, yeah, everything is kind of fluctuating right now, right? For me,
Mhm.
and to just roll with it. Like you said,
Yep.
I'm not surprised to see this card show up at all for this.
No, not at all.
What stays, what
You put the
stays
world up
just
there
here.
though, and it's the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, it's the Wheel of Fortune. See,
Yeah.
I can't really see it very well personally, so
Oh.
it's okay. Well, yeah, it's all right. I thought it was the Wheel of Fortune, and I typed that, but I started looking at it. And my bad. It's the Wheel of Fortune.
So one of the things about the Wheel of Fortune card is that it has the 4 fixed signs in the corners of the card. And that reminds us to try to be the fixed point at the center of our life rather than letting life whip us around and not be at the center of our own experience.
Mel, just so you know, my stuff is getting ready to die, and in the amount of time it will take for me to plug it back in, so I might actually fall off of here. If you'll continue and finish out, that would be great.
You got it, babe. Okay. And then for what's going out? What goes? What can we release? What can we let go of at this time?
Right.
Self-doubt.
Yeah, and the starting and stopping of things, like just for me, it's kind of like the teacher's asking me after I turn in my test, like, do you want to look over your paper? Like, stop trying to figure out the details right now and just go get it moving. The details are there. You already know the details about it, and they're going to change.
And you're going to handle them when they become priority,
Right.
right? So, handle what the priority is right now. If you can't tell what the priority is right now, I'm going to say look to the long-term goal.
Right. I agree with
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
So,
I Page of Swords.
so what stays this time? We stay at the center of our experience. We stay with a flexible frame of mind that says sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, but there's always a good opportunity coming around. And what goes? What do we put behind us? Things that make us feel uncertain.
Ooh, putting those together, seeing that wheel, seemingly looking behind like they're looking forward and, moving backward in that card. That brings a different perspective. Yeah. Still, again, y'all, like we're gonna be challenged with those things that we're trying to go, get past, to get through, that we're currently working through. And we're gonna be challenged to continue to work through those, to continue to use our tools to get through them. Okay. So it's coming is what those cards say. Like, I'm
Coming.
ready. I'm ready. Just be ready for everything and anything.
Hmm.
And, just don't fall back into a place where you can't see and where you're not in control.
Yeah. Definitely don't doubt yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you know what your goal is, you're capable of getting it one little step at a time. Just go ahead and start walking in that direction.
Right. I agree with that. Yes, yes.
All right.
Are we all done? Oh yo, no, no, yo.
I think we
Whoa,
might be
there's our
all
new
done.
logo.
This is our new logo, friends. We are opening a bookstore if you had not heard already. We're going to be dealing in books, but also, our astrology and tarot. We're going to be doing readings there. We're going to be selling tarot cards and stuff like that, and also, other kinds of gifts. And we want to have a spell bar. It's going to be a magical place, and I really hope that someday you can visit us there.
Yes. So I thought I'd just, put that up there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here today and every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for Astro Insights Live. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Give this video a thumbs up It really helps with the algorithms. And again, and to keep up to date, click that notification bell, because as I said, our upload schedule will be changing a little bit. The thing that you can count on is we'll be here at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays, live every single Sunday. And some of the other things might just do go with that Wheel of Fortune. So you got to stay tuned, subscribe, and
Mhm.
we will see you again in our next video.
Thank you so much for being here, friends. Catch you soon.